Hey y'all, Farmer Dre back at it. It's another beautiful day here on the farm. I am in the blackberry patch. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys an update, and we are also harvesting berries today. So let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so an update on the blackberry patch. We're out here and haven't showed you guys, haven't been out here in a while. I mean, I've been in and out here, but haven't been out here with the camera since we put on the row covers in February. So kind of some weather history here on the farm. Back in February, it did get down to -14 here on the farm, and then April 21st we got down to 23 for about 3 or 4 hours. So the blackberry crop isn't looking too great this year, and I'll explain exactly what happened and you know, how the crop is looking overall. But you know, let me go ahead and show you guys some of these ripe berries here. Look at this. Absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. Some of these fruits just massive. I mean, I got some massive fruit on them here, so that's what we want to see. So if you guys recall my last blackberry video I did whenever we put on the row covers, we put them on a few days before it actually got really cold, so there was plenty of temperature and plenty of heat underneath those row covers during the winter months. But you got to remember, with blackberries, once the temperature reaches below 0 degrees, you are most likely going to have winter cold injury damage. So you know, it gets too cold for the canes, it gets too cold for the plants themselves, and either the canes start dying off or the buds inside the actual cane starts dying off. So with the row covers, I've seen from personal experience on the strawberries up to a 9-degree temperature change, so 9 degrees warmer underneath the row covers, and that's about as hot as you can get underneath row cover. So we got down to -14 here on the farm for quite, I mean, it was cold for 3 to 4 days in a row. I mean, it wasn't just a cold snap, cold for a couple of hours and then it got back up. No, it stayed cold for 2.5 or 3 days. So it was really, really cold. And of course they were covered. But if you take -14 and add 9 to that, what is that? That's -5. So at -5 with the row covers applied, you still, you know, you're still prone to a winter cold injury. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that those cold damage on the crop himself on some of these canes here. So with blackberries, they have many different buds. So the primary buds is what's going to give you the heaviest crop, the most crop. Every single node is going to have a beautiful flush cluster of blackberries. And then the secondary buds are the ones that are going to be a lighter crop. And then sometimes you get some, they're called the basal crop, or the basal buds, where they come up from the center of the plants. I'll show you guys some of those. Let me go ahead and show you guys right here on this plant right here. So the primary buds are the ones that are right off of the main cane. So this is the main cane lateral branch here. So you can see here, this is all frozen. Some of these didn't even open up. So the plant grew, but the buds were frozen inside. So then we have a whole lot of this. I mean, about 90% of the patch has this on it. So we lost a lot. I mean, we lost the majority of the primary buds. So this is all primary buds here, primary buds, primary buds, primary buds. You know, a lot of the primary buds. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the secondary buds here. So a perfect example of the secondary buds is, let me try to find one that's a good example. Let me see here. Let me keep on right here. This is a perfect example of a secondary bud right here. So you have the main bud, and then it turned into a lateral branch, and this lateral branch grew out into this right here. And this is the secondary bud, or the crown. It grew, instead of growing the primary, it pushed out from the primary into the secondary, and it produces this right here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fruits on here. What you can see here, we got, you know, 16, 18 inches of primary buds that are destroyed, and a very few secondary buds. So that's why the crop is very, very light this year, because not all, I mean, there's not many secondary buds. We'll have a few, but the secondary buds are not as heavy as the primary buds. So that's why the crop is very, very light this year. Basal buds are the ones that grow from the bottom of the actual crown, at the bottom here of the plant. So we got the fabric. So this cane, it looks like a prima cane, but it's not. It's called the basal buds. So this is all the basal buds here on the bottom of the plants. And the only issue with this is they start hitting the floor because they get so heavy. They don't grow as tall. So these are they call them the basal buds. They grew from the bottom here. This branch right here grew from the bottom there out of the ground and produced us is going to produce this. But the problem is the basal buds are so much later of the year. So the primary buds, like right here, should have been right here. In this area in southwest Missouri, they're usually ripe about the first week of June. Right now, it's the first week of July, and we're just now starting to pick the secondary buds. But these basal buds here won't be ripe for another 3 to 4 weeks. So overall, we lost about 90% of our entire blackberry crop here, and it's been one of those years where, I mean, it's just part of it. We have no control. You know, we did the best we could. We put the row covers on, but whenever it gets down that cold, there's not much you can do. So it's -14 outside. Underneath the row covers, it was -5, and we still saw extensive damage. And if it gets any colder than that, then you'll start seeing actual canes die off here. So like this cane right here, it's just completely dead. I mean, that's just part of it. I mean, we're pretty fortunate that we didn't lose all these canes here. But you know, there's some plants out here that are just dead canes like this one. As an overall crop, I mean, we'll have blackberries out here, and you know, we're expecting in the third year to pick at least 5 or 6 pounds per linear foot. This year we will not achieve that just because of the frost and the cold. But I mean, the berry size are still huge. Look at that, absolutely beautiful, flavorful, sweet Natchez blackberries. Look at that, they just come right off the plants here. And that's the thing about blackberries, when you pick them, make sure they fall straight into your hand, and they're super sweet, super delicious. Yeah, so that's an update on the blackberry patch here. And we have so many out here that we cannot pick them, so we're going to be opening up for you pick probably tomorrow morning, and we'll just have a very limited amount of customers who can come out to the farm and pick, just because there's not that many out here. You know, it seems like a lot, but once you start picking and filling up a box, it takes quite a bit to fill up a box. So you'll see there's 22 rows out here, so you know, there's still quite a bit of berries out here, but it's not the potential or the full crop we could have had and should have had this year. But hey, that's part of farming, and that is just part of the experience. We haven't started training these yet, just because we're gonna wait this year and change things up until we get all the floor canes off, and then we're gonna go ahead and come in and just kind of move these over here, tie them down to that wire, cut the tips off, and let those lateral branches start growing. Some of the lateral branches, like right here, already have started growing, but right now it's just a big mess because we're starting to harvest these floor canes here. You know, they're kind of in the way, so we just figure it's going to be a little easier. We're hoping it'll be a little easier to train these whenever. So like this one right here, just kind of tie that down there right there, and it'll be easier hopefully to train these whenever everything's kind of cleared up, instead of trying to do it whenever there's a crop and trying to harvest all that. The only thing I'd have to complain or say about the RCA trellis system is the labor involved and the time and energy involved into training them. So I was down in Arkansas at a blackberry school out there, and you know, a lot of the farmers are saying the same thing. You know, it's just a lot of time and energy spent into training them. So they're coming up with new systems and new tying methods. You know, you still get the effect of the RCA, but the training system's entire differently. And I'm trying a few rows here on our farm to see how I like it, if it does anything good for us. And if I like it, then we're gonna have to do some modifications to the plants and how we grow them and train them. But from the RCA trellis standpoint of harvesting on one side of the fruit, harvesting the fruit on one side of the trellis system will still be the same. So we'll make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But yeah, you know, the RCA trellis came out here in southern Midwest about 4 or 5 years ago, in the University of Arkansas and the University of Missouri. They started and they trained. You know, they put out a small patch, like 3 or 4 rows, and they were showing farmers how this system works and how effective it is. So a lot of the farmers, a few farmers here in Missouri, a lot more down in Arkansas, planted it. And, you know, 3 to 4 years down the road, they're starting to realize that, you know, all the time and energy spent into trellising isn't worth, you know, the production's still there. You know, there's more production on a per plant basis, but it's just not worth, and it's not feasible to put in so much time and energy into training compared to the offset and the production. You know, and it's just one of those deals where you gotta, you know, pick out what works better and just figure out what works and what doesn't work. So that's what they're doing down there, and they're figuring out new training systems. And a lot of those guys planting the RCA trellis system now, instead of going 5 foot, they're going to 2.5 or 3 foot and training the plants a whole different way. So instead of putting 5 foot spacing, they're putting double the plants per acre. So, you know, it's kind of cool to see, you know, how that's going to turn out. And like I said, I'm going to try a few other training methods to make it a little easier on our side, on the farmer side. It's easier to send somebody one time during the summer months, come through here and train everything, rather than having to come through here weekly and train, and it just becomes into a bigger mess that way. So yeah, all kinds of fun things happening in the whole blackberry world, in the blackberry industry. Continue harvesting here. We pick straight into these 12 pint containers here, the boxes. Just makes it easier on our side. Then we'll just put them in the cooler and sell them, get them ready for farmers market. Absolutely beautiful fruit, gorgeous, massive, massive, massive fruit there. You got 4 or 5 of these and make a, let's see, there's, you know, 10 or 12 of these make a pint pretty quick, and maybe 20. But yeah, not too bad, not too bad at all. Alrighty, so after we get done harvesting the blackberries, we take them out of the field in the box, then we go ahead and put them in our cooler here. And this is the most important part about growing blackberries, is having the cooler space where you can cool them off as fast as you can out of the field. Get the field heat out of them, just because it makes the blackberries last a whole lot longer in storage and at the customer's house if you take all the heat out of them. So we put them in here on these shelves, nice and just like this. We have a few more from last time we picked there. And for some reason we have some bottles of water in here. I have no idea why, but you know how it goes in the cooler. Anyways, take all the field heat out of them, cool them down as fast as you can here in the cooler, and then we will keep them in here until they're ready to be sold. Alrighty, y'all, this is gonna be it for today. Just a quick little update strawberry harvest or blackberry harvest video for you guys. If you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button if you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, hit that notification icon so you guys can be notified whenever I do upload a video. I want to say thanks for watching up to this point. Y'all have a good day. We will see you next time.